अच्छा जी, now we are moving towards the definition or understanding of law in narrower sense. Narrower sense is also obviously a law in broader sense. लॉ की जब हम ब्रॉडर डेफिनेशन को डिस्कस करेंगे तो ऑब्वियसली जो उसकी एक कैटेगरी है उसकी नैरोर है वो उसमें इंक्लूडेड ही होगी. ठीक है, फॉर एग्जांपल व्हेन वी से दैट लॉ डिपार्टमेंट इज अ पार्ट ऑफ यूनिवर्सिटी, so whenever we will be talking about the parts of university, obviously we will be talking about law college or the law department. But when we will be talking about specifically about the law department, then we need not to discuss the other departments of the Barrier University. We will just discuss that one department of the law. So every smaller species is becomes the part of the global or the larger scheme of that kind. बट जो नैरोर होती है वो ज़रूरी नहीं है कि उसको आपने उनके साथ डिस्कस करनी है. दैट इज़ वाई व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट लॉ इन ब्रॉडर सेंस, तो उसी लॉ इन ब्रॉडर सेंस में एक कैटेगरी लॉ की या एक काइंड ऑफ लॉ जो है वो सिविल लॉ भी है या जिसे लॉ इन नैरोर सेंस कहते हैं. सो today's lecture is very important because now we have started moving towards the law as we understand that, and from today onwards our focus would be completely upon the law in narrower sense, the law as understood by the scholars, legal scholars, as understood by the jurists, as understood by the lawyers, law students, uh, etc. And we will be hardly talking about rest of laws, the laws in broader sense that we have already discussed in previous classes. They may not have that much relevance in our future classes, but that was sufficient just to have a look about, or just to have some knowledge about the law in broader sense. We are done with that. Now, our focus would always be understanding the nature and the theories about law, but the law in narrow sense. We have nothing to do with the international law. We have nothing to do with the imperative law concepts. Uh, we have nothing to do with the scientific law or the law of nature. That will not have been our topic. Hardly, by the way, हम उसको डिस्कस कर दें तो ठीक है, अदरवाइज they would not be our topic of discussion. Now, civil law, as you might be knowing, and I did explain it to you, it's a law that is applied on civilians. That is why we call it the civil law. The law which is derived, the word civil is derived from the word civic, which means citizen or the city. So basically, any rule, any law that is applied on the citizens or that is applied within a particular area, जिसे आप सिटी कह सकते हैं, is known as law in narrow sense or
कह रहे हैं कोई मसला हुआ है इस नंबर पे फ़ोन कर देना.
अच्छा ठीक हो गया. दूसरा, अगर कोई स्टूडेंट आए ना उसको ज़रा भेजिएगा, ये उसको एच ई सी एम
कोई स्टूडेंट
कोई भी आ जाए ना जानने वाला,
अच्छा
उसको इधर भेज दीजिए, स्पेशली फिफ्थ और सिक्स सेमेस्टर के. अच्छा जी, दस law of the land or civil law को we also call it the law of the land, the law in narrower sense, the law properly speaking administered by the state. Yes, within the particular territory of the state, it is administered by the state, it is enforced by the state, it is acted upon, or its compliance is ensured by the court. So all these terms that we know, as far as the law is concerned, हम उसे law properly law speaking कहते हैं. It is definitely territorial in nature and it is always backed by force. At least modern concept में we know this, that since we have the concept of states, so every state has its sovereignty within a defined territory, and so the sovereign, whatever commands or whatever law comes from that sovereign, that is applied uh, in that particular area or the territory of the state, and it is always backed and supported by the force of the state. Now popularly we also call it the positive law. इसे पॉजिटिव लॉ भी कहा जाता है। मॉडर्न टर्म्स में जो एनालिटिकल जूरिस्प्रूडेंस के लोग हैं, they normally call it positive law because it is supported by the position and by the positiveness, by the power of the state. See, ठीक है? That is why we call it positive law. Then this civil law can either be general, um, which is applied, which is general, larger, and a broader part of a legal system. So we are in the legal system. There are certain laws which have general applications. So you can see the PPC, you can see Civil Procedure Code, the law of contract. All these law, if any contract is entered into by by the citizens, they have to comply with this general law of contract of Pakistan. Similarly, if the crime is committed, you have to follow the procedure given by CRPC throughout the Pakistan, unless if any area has been excluded by CRPC, otherwise it's applicable throughout the Pakistan. That is why we call it, it's a general law. It's generally applicable throughout the Pakistan. Very vast majority of people, they are subject to that. That is why general people pay applicable hota hai. Spatial law is also, we can say it's it is something, it's a law that is applied in certain situations or to certain individuals, for certain people, for private agreements, etc. उसकी जो examples है एंटी टेररिज्म लॉज हैं, which are not general in nature. If a particular crime of a particular nature has been committed, so in that case, the PPC, which is a general law for the general crimes, it would no more be applicable, while the instead the anti-terrorism law would be applicable. Similarly, for all the general contracts, even of any nature, you will apply Contract Act, but there could be certain contract which could not be executed except by few individuals or special people. हिंदू मैरिज एक्ट हो गया, और आई थिंक पार्टनरशिप एक्ट जो है वो पार्टनरशिप से रिलेटेड जो रिलेशनशिप है उस पे एप्लीकेबल होगा, जनरल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स पे एप्लीकेबल नहीं होगा. सो सिमिलरली दो स्पेशल नेचर के या स्पेशल पीपल पे जो लॉ एप्लीकेबल होगा, वी कॉल इट द स्पेशल लॉ, सिविल एंड स्पेशल लॉ. Is this clear? Should I move to the next slide?